Welcome to Journey Through the Gate, Paranormal Portal Podcast, as we delve into the many questions and wonders brought on by the supernatural experience. What's on the other side of the gate? Let's find out together. Hello, my lovely gatekeepers. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As stated, I am dedicating this show to the ghouls and evil entities that would harm the hair on lovely animals that brought joy to many for absolutely no effing reason. We love you. Our hearts are with you and those who miss you the most. That being said, please understand, I don't condone harming any kind of life. And to do it unnecessarily like that for absolutely no reason and cause so much harm is absolutely ludicrous in my book. So, talk about your dark entities. There you go. So, that being said, I had to say something about that. I also want to say, please do not forget people who are victims of natural and unnatural disasters. Please do not forget the people of North Carolina, the people of Tennessee, the people in Florida who are probably still undergoing, although they have more help, God bless them, they're not getting that help in North Carolina and some parts of Oklahoma right now. I hope that things kick in for them quickly. They're still undergoing storms, and I want everybody aware that if you are in the United States right now, please don't listen to me. Go over to Ryan Hall, y'all, or Max Velocity. Both of those young gentlemen are doing a great job. They have a terrific crews with them on the ground and otherwise, and I've watched them save lives more than once. So please be keeping an eye on the storm. I want everybody safe, and I want everybody happy and free. So I wish that for everybody. There's nothing worse than not being able to provide for your family or to lose everything in a moment, a blink of an eye. So please be aware, weather aware tonight and tomorrow, from what I understand. That being said, I have happy news. It is Mario's birthday today, and I appreciate him so much. And he's one that does not like his birthday celebrated or anybody to mention it. So as I say, happy birthday, Mario. Love you dearly. You've been a terrific friend and so much more. I appreciate you very much. He is also the composer of our lovely song that we use here in the intro called Spirits Rescue. A multi-talented individual, very wise. Well, he's here with me, so there you go. So just saying, we wish you love and happiness, Mario. I hope this year makes all your wishes come true. So there's that. I also wanted to say I'm so sorry that I had to cancel my interview with Conflict Radio on Halloween night. Yeah, getting old sometimes sucks, even when you're a warrior. I sneezed. And I pulled my back out so bad. And I'm literally having a hard time just even sitting up right now, but that's cool. I can deal with a lot of, pain's one thing, but you could just try to find that where you're not catching, you know what I'm saying? And you got storms and everything else. So God bless Claw, because I can imagine I'd probably have the posture of a boiled shrimp if it wasn't for Cat's Claw. And thank you guys for being here through my whole Halloween extravaganza. I did so many radio interviews, so many wonderful podcasts, told so many fantastic stories. So I didn't feel too awful bad for not being able to celebrate Halloween. I spent it flat on my back, which probably not the only one. And besides, I wasn't having any fun. I saw 2 trick-or-treaters out my window. It was so pitiful. If I could have chucked a Snickers bar at them from my window, I would have, but they were moving a little too quick. So, I didn't feel too bad about that because I thought we had a lovely time Halloween here with all of our wonderful people. Thank you for that. And I wanted to do this with you. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. I'm on the mend. There's a lot of other stuff go. You know what? It's hard to keep me down. I'm just trying to get it to the point where it's not glitching anymore, so I can actually work next week, which would be nice. Because I do it on my feet, and you got to kind of have your back's got to be willing to do that. So I thank you so much. Hello, Steve. Hello, Nick. Hello, Holden. I love you. So tonight we are going to watch this. Now, I was absolutely thrilled to find out that this movie was in the public domain. The last time I saw House on Haunted Hill was probably 20-something years ago. You see clips of it here and there, and you feel like you know the whole story, and it's so familiar. And I was not a fan of the remake. I believe there's been 2 remakes. I could be wrong on that, but it was completely different. So it's almost hard to compare the 2 really. I did like the fact that they brought that underlying issue with each person. And I think that's an important thing here. I think the house is its own entity. I think each person coming into this house with their own struggle. Vincent Price, absolutely. I think this is one of his best. This is like his stranglehold. You know what I mean? This is his. This is his masterpiece. He did so many of them, and he did wonderful on any of the audio presentations he ever did. I mean, right up until Thriller, for Pete's sake. He really had a wonderful career. His birthday was on Halloween, just like our dear Steve Stockton. And it's just a fabulous concept, this entire movie. Now, let me ask you a question. $10,000 in 1959 was the money that they said that each person would get if they spent the night in the haunted house. And of course, this is all a psychological experiment, from Vincent. Plus, he had the whole thing going on with his wife, that love-hate thing, and the vat of acid, the whole, my goodness. Everything in this, but I'm going to be here through it with you. I got to go lay back down, but I'm going to be here with you, and I'd love for you to point out some of the things you see in this throughout this movie about in 1959 they presented it as, like this one woman, she's got all, she's dealing with this house talking to her, and the whole angst of, what are they trying to tell me? It's a very deep movie. Now you look back at it and you see some of the effects and things like that, like in 13 Ghosts, the original. You look at the effects and you think, oh gosh, man, they look a little cheesy or whatever now. And I don't think that's the point. I think the point is a little bit of what I believe it was. I want to say Jimmy Stewart that said that when they took the black and white movies and they colorized them, I had a choice to show you the colorized version or the black and white tonight. And he said that when they colorized the movie, what they did was they undid all of the cinematography and lighting and the way they had placed certain things to give an effect of whatever they were portraying. And it kind of took away from all that. And I believe that to be true. Um, I chose the black and white version, the original, because I think it's the best. Um, the colorization on the other one, it kind of it just took away from it, I thought. And I don't know how you feel about that, but I wanted to honor the way they put it out, the way it came out in theaters, the way the lighting around the eyes. If you remember, if the old Addams Family, and the way they highlighted around their eyes, they put that extra light just around their, Morticia's eyes, and they did the same thing with Bela Lugosi, and all those little things. So I think to honor them, we do it this way, and I think we can learn a little bit from this too, because whether it was 1959, the money, like I said, $10,000 per person back then, gosh, couldn't even tell you what that was. Like 100,000 now? I'm just guessing off the top of my head. Similar. And that's a lot of money, yeah, to say, can you stay in this house? Well, we see this all the time now. With pick your YouTube paranormal channel or whatever, we're going to spend the night in a haunted asylum. We're going to spend the night here in this whatever house. I'm going to sit in this room with a mask on and, talk to the dark. But back then, in 1959, I think it had so much impact, when people were talking. I remember my sisters, talking about it. It was on TV on a Sunday or something in the 60s. I could never do that. And I could never, it was so unthinkable. I don't know. Would you do it? Because I don't think this was an ordinary haunted house. I think there's, remembering, looking back, I know there was a lot of tricks and things pulled, and, secret passages. And, there's this one cheesy scene where this lady comes in, and she's almost like an old hag on a skateboard or something. And she comes going down the hall, and the woman is just screaming for all she's worth, but that was really scary back then. It made people jump. It made girlfriends jump closer to their boyfriends at the drive-in, that kind of thing. And it got people talking about haunted houses. And so here, and thank you so much for getting that t-shirt, Chris. And, you were talking about, you got the original, the logo. There's a big story behind that, but I will tell you this. I'll spare you the story. But when I first started this podcast, I tried to start it because I believe in intent, and I believe in doing the right thing from the get-go. If you can, at all, if you have a choice, you got to do the right thing, right? So I picked the name of the podcast because I wanted something going through an entrance of some sort, so I fell on gate. I like gate. I love the wrought iron gates. I love the whole look of them. I've always liked that, where they open up and welcome in this beautiful mansion or whatever. Depends on the gate, but I like the old ones, the old wrought iron ones. Like I said before on this show many times, I'm a sucker for wrought iron. And I always wanted to be a blacksmith. Maybe I will before I go. And so I wanted the gate, and I wanted the idea of walking through something intentionally, to have to put up your hand and push open, or to at least walk through, because it's your intent and it's your journey. So that's what that meant to me. But I had picked Beyond the Gate. Now, I actually paid somebody to go searching to make sure that there was no other show with that name. There was no other, anything like a talk show or a radio show or a podcast, that kind of thing. So we did that. We looked for quite a bit of time, and I was assured nobody had that name. So if you know what it takes to put through stuff on Canva and get everything the right size to go on iTunes and all this other stuff, because this is going years back. And I'm doing all that, and we finally get it going. I finally get it up. I get everything locked and loaded. And as soon as it gets accepted, I get everything up, I find out there was a radio show in Chicago called Beyond the Gate. And it was a paranormal. And I pulled everything down, and I started over. And I changed the ghost. I changed the logo. I changed the name to Journey Through the Gate, because I wanted to keep the gate. And people tease me all the time about my name, but I did it out of integrity. I did it because it wasn't the easiest thing to do. I did it because it was the right thing to do. And if I was going to start a podcast on telling people the truth as I know it in the paranormal, I wasn't going to start it off the wrong way. So my logo means that to me. Because if I'm not going to take somebody else's name and I'm not going to be shag nasty like that, I'm certainly not going to lie to you about ghosts. So there you go. And I think that if Vincent Price wants to lie to me about a ghost, I'm going to let him. So let's watch this wonderful movie together. Thank you for being so understanding about my poor old back. And I'm so sorry that we've had a lot of these off and on with tech issues and things like that. I try not to miss a lot of shows. I really, really try, but I had to make a choice tonight. I thought this was a good idea because here's why. Another reason is because I've been doing an awful lot of research because I want to bring you a juicy show. And I'm talking to Steve Stockton. So tomorrow night, we are going to open up the mysterious case, the murder of Bob Crane from Hogan's Heroes. And when you do a deep dive and a deep research on that, something like that, that takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of diligence and, and research, stuff like that. So, and facts and looking up and double checking and trying to sort out found all kinds of cool little twists and add-ons and things that you don't normally hear. And I'm very excited to bring it to you. I think Steve is too. We've been talking off and on about it. So we're going to do that one tomorrow night. I hope you're here. And, whatever you've heard about that case, I ask you to come in with an open mind. We're going to ask people, as like we usually do on true crime, what do you know? What do you think now? And then what do you think after the fact? And it's a very interesting case. Boy, we talk about twisted. And some of the things you've heard, I'm thinking, they might be changed a little after tomorrow night. So I'm excited to bring you that. So we're going to do this tonight, and we're going to give my whole back a little bit. And you don't want to see me. I smell like Ben Gay. Figure that one out. All right, let's get this started. And I love you, love you, love you. Here we go. Vincent Price. Hit the right button, Cisco. We can do this. Ted, seatbelt. Put the seatbelt sign up, Ted. All right, here we go. Can I do it? Can I do it? I think I can. I love, love, love the opening to this. Here we are. House on Haunted Hill, 1959. Starring Vincent Price. Whoa.
The ghosts are moving tonight, restless, hungry. May I introduce myself? I'm Watson Pritchard. In just a minute, I'll show you the only really haunted house in the world. Since it was built a century ago, 7 people, including my brother, have been murdered in it. Since then, I've owned the house. I've only spent one night there, and when they found me in the morning, I was almost dead.
I'm Frederick Loren, and I've rented the house on Haunted Hill tonight so that my wife can give a party. A haunted house party. She's so amusing. There'll be food and drink and ghosts, and perhaps even a few murders. You're all invited. If any of you will spend the next 12 hours in this house, I'll give you each $10,000. Or your next of kin in case you don't survive. Ah, but here come our other guests. It was my wife's idea to have our guests come in funeral cars. She's so amusing. Her sense of humor is, shall we say, original. I dreamed up the hearse. It's empty now, but after a night in the house on Haunted Hill, who knows? This is Lance Schroeder, a test pilot, so no doubt a brave man. But don't you think you can be much braver if you're paid for it? And I happen to know that Lance needs the $10,000 I'll give him, if he's brave enough to stay all night. This is Ruth Bridges. You've no doubt read her column in the newspapers. She says her reason for coming to the party is to write a feature article on ghosts. She's also desperate for money, gambles. You've already met Watson Pritchard, a man living in mortal fear of a house, and yet he is risking his life to spend another night here. I wonder why. He says for money. This is Dr. David Trent, a psychiatrist. He claims that my ghost will help his work on hysteria. But don't you see a little touch of greed there? Around the mouth and eyes? This is Nora Manning. I picked her from the thousands of people who work for me because she needed the $10,000 more than most. Supports her whole family. Isn't she pretty? The party's starting now, and you have until midnight to find the house on Haunted Hill.
Well, where is everybody?
It isn't a very warm welcome, is it?
Only the ghosts in this house are glad we're here.
Are we all strangers to each other? Don't you two know each other?
I'm afraid I don't even know your name.
I'm Nora Manning.
Lance Schroeder.
Is Frederick Loren a friend of yours?
I've heard of him, but I've never met him.
I work for one of his companies, but I've never seen him.
I've never met the man either. Just a phone call. Do you know him?
No,
Well, then you're the only one of us who does.
I don't know him. All the details about renting the house were done by mail.
He's quite wealthy, isn't he?
Millions.
And 5 wives, I believe.
4, I think, so far.
A $50,000 party for only 5 people is a little steep, even for a millionaire.
Well, if I were going to haunt anybody, this would certainly be the house I'd do it in.
Who closed the door?
This thing's made of solid steel.
Annabelle, our guests are here and fortunately still alive. Is your face on yet?
Dust and dirt everywhere, and the water barely trickles. Couldn't you have had the place cleaned?
Atmosphere, darling. You know how ghosts are. They never tidy up. And that's a very fetching outfit, but hardly suitable for a party.
I'm not going to the party.
The spend the night ghost party was your idea, remember? Since it's going to cost me $50,000, I want you to have fun.
The party was my idea until you invited all the guests. Why, all these strangers were none of our friends.
Friends? Do we have any friends?
No, your jealousy took care of that.
I had a reason for inviting each guest. I wanted kind of a cross-section. From psychiatrist to typist, and from drunk to jet pilot. They share one thing. They all need money. Now let's see if they're brave enough to earn it.
And you call this a party?
Could be.
Why do you always do that? It spoils the champagne.
It might explode.
Never does.
You guarantee that?
That isn't funny, Frederick.
Make a good headline. Playboy kills wife with champagne cork. Will you join me?
No, thank you.
Just a sip might improve your humor.
My humor is fine, thanks. And I haven't poisoned it.
It's always good to know that. Have some. You'll enjoy the party more. Go on.
Your trust is so touching. And I'm not going to the party.
Of all my wives, you're the least agreeable.
But still alive.
Would you go away for $1 million tax-free? You want it all, don't you?
I deserve it all. Your jealousy isn't tax-free. And your possessiveness is maddening.
If ever a man had grounds for divorce,
But can't prove them.
the time will come. You'll slip up one of these days,
Think so?
if I live long enough. You remember the fun we had when you poisoned me?
Something you ate, the doctor said.
Yes, arsenic on the rocks. Annabelle, you'd do it again if you thought you could get away with it, wouldn't you?
Darling, what makes you think that?
Something about you. I hear that hanging is very uncomfortable, in case you get any more ideas. Don't let the ghosts and the ghouls disturb you, darling.
Darling, the only ghoul in the house is you.
And don't sit up all night thinking of ways to get rid of me. It makes wrinkles.
This is what she used on my brother and her sister. Hacked them to pieces. We found parts of the bodies all over the house, in places you wouldn't think. The funny thing is the heads have never been found. Hands and feet and things like that. But no heads.
The wife, probably in a rage, threatened her husband with a knife and then, carried away by hysteria, took a swing at him and simply went on from there.
She certainly went on. How many people did she kill, Mr. Pritchard?
Only two. Her husband and her sister. No one else was here.
So there are two loose heads just floating around in here somewhere?
You can hear them at night. They whisper to each other and then cry.
Since our host isn't here, would anyone care to mix me a drink?
Certainly. What will you have?
Good evening. I'm your host, Frederick Loren. Since we're all strangers to each other, let's get acquainted with a drink, shall we?
Mr. Loren, I advise you to call this party off now. The ghosts are already moving, and that's a bad sign.
Let me apologize for my wife. She'll join us later. What do you have,
Scotch and.
Doctor?
I'll have the same.
Now, before the party begins, let's go over the details. The caretakers will leave at midnight, locking us in here until they come back in the morning. Once the door is locked, there's no way out. The windows have bars that a jail would be proud of, and the only door to the outside locks like a vault. There's no electricity, no phone, no one within miles, so no way to call for help.
Like a coffin.
So if any of you decide not to stay for the party, you must let me know before midnight. Of course, if you leave, I shan't be able to pay you anything.
I'm interested in your reasons for this, party. Aside from pleasant company.
Ghosts, Doctor. I think everyone wonders what they would do if they saw a ghost. And now my wife has given us all the opportunity to find out.
Amusing. Ghosts, etc., being only creations of hysteria, your party should be a success.
Well, Pritchard here promises us genuine ghosts.
7 now. Maybe more before morning.
That's cheerful.
4 men have been murdered in this house. And 3 women.
You planned your party very well, Mr. Loren. 4 of us are men, 3 are women. Well, it goes for everybody.
Now, Pritchard, why don't you take us on a tour through the house and let's see what happens, huh?
See that stain? Blood. A young girl was killed here. And whatever got her wasn't human. Don't stand there.
What do you mean? Where?
It's too late. They've marked you.
Ridiculous. The roof probably leaks.
Oh, that must be what it is. Who would want to haunt me?
I would say any self-respecting male ghost.
I hope it doesn't come back.
Well, Mr. Pritchard, you're the life of the party.
He hasn't even started yet. Wasn't there a man who threw his wife into a wine vat or something?
That was in the cellar. There's been a murder almost every place in this house. All this belonged to a Mr. Norton, who didn't die here. He was electrocuted later. Mr. Norton did a good deal of experimenting with wines, but his wife didn't think it was any good. So he filled the vat with acid and threw her in. She was supposed to stay down, but the bones came up. It's a funny thing, but none of the murders here were just ordinary. Just shooting or stabbing. They've all been sort of wild, violent, and different.
Look out!
God she didn't fall in.
You mean there's still acid in there?
Destroys everything with hair and flesh. Just leaves the bones. My, it's dry and dusty down here.
Well, there's a cure for that upstairs. Come on. How'd you get invited to this party? No. Oh, go on. I mean, what'd he tell you?
Mr. Loren said everybody'd get $10,000.
But he didn't say anything about being locked in.
No.
He just made the deal with me on the phone, but nothing about having to stay.
Aren't you going to stay?
If I don't, I lose $10,000.
I'm going to stay too. $10,000.
Yeah. You believe in ghosts?
I don't know.
Well, I agree with what that doc says. You can spook yourself. I've done it in planes. Seen things that weren't really there. Or were they? What are you going to do with your $10,000? If we get it.
What do you mean if we get it? Won't he pay us if we stay?
Ah, sure he will. 10,000 is no more to him than a nickel is to us.
We were in an automobile accident. Now I'm the only one in the family who can make any money.
Boy, I've never seen so many doors. Closet. Bottles.
Does it go anywhere? Lance! Lance!
Did she say Lance is gone? Gone where?
We'll have to break it down. It's locked.
What? You all right? Nothing that money won't cure. I must have bumped my head.
The only way you could bump your head in here is to run head on into the wall. You didn't do that, did you? Let's get a bandage on that.
I wonder why they didn't kill him.
Who?
He didn't bump his head. They hit him.
They?
Nora, when you came in, you said something about a ghost.
There was something.
What did it look like?
Well, it was wearing a black thing that went all the way to the floor.
Weren't you a little frightened at the time?
Well, yes.
That, Mr. Loren, is hysteria.
But then, Doctor, how do you explain what happened to Lance? Was that hysteria, too?
You better get that checked in a day or so.
Thanks, Doc.
Wait for me in the hall.
The ghosts are coming closer, Mr. Loren.
You really believe in your pet ghost, don't you, Pritchard?
Before the night's over, you will, too.
Would you like a drink, Lance?
No, thanks.
I'd like one. Scotch and. Mr. Loren, are you really going to pay anyone who stays all night?
Certainly. $10,000.
Will there be much red tape or delay?
In a hurry, dear?
Frankly, yes. Or frantically.
There you are, my dear.
Someone or something was in here when I came in. But where? And if the door was locked, how did it get out? What you saw might have been a ghost, Nora, but what was in here with me was no ghost.
I don't know. I was so scared.
Does it sound different to you?
Yes.
Three, 6, 9, 12. 12 feet. Three, 6. Now, I'm going to knock on the other wall. When you hear me, you knock on this wall. Tap lower down. Where'd it come from?
From in here.
What if it ran out of here? I'd have seen it.
Lance, it doesn't run. It just floats.
Yeah, but why didn't I see it?
You don't believe me.
How can I?
I'm Annabelle Loren. You must be Miss Manning. I realize this is a very unusual and I'm afraid very dull party. Wouldn't you like to freshen up? This is your room. Depressing, isn't it?
I doubt if I'll spend much time here.
It's going to rain. Perfect atmosphere for my husband's party. Why did you come here?
He said he'd give me $10,000.
Why did he pick you?
I don't know. My supervisor just came and said I'd been invited.
How long have you known my husband?
I just met him tonight.
So? Why you? What were you doing wandering around by yourself?
Well, I was in the cellar with Lance, Mr. Schroeder, and I just left, that's all.
Don't do it again. Don't go anywhere in this house by yourself. Now fix your face and I'll come by for you in a few minutes.
But
You're in danger. We all are.
who?
I hope for your sake you never find out. I'm Annabelle Loren. Were you looking for something?
Not exactly.
Are you the doctor?
No, I'm Lance Schroeder.
The pilot. You've hurt yourself.
Oh, it's just a bump on the head. Which is my room?
I believe this is it.
Thank you, Mrs. Loren.
Annabelle, Lance. You were with the young girl in the cellar. Why was she so upset?
Was she?
And you don't look like the type to go around bumping his head. What really happened, Lance?
Well, Nora thought she saw a ghost, but I didn't see anything.
She was just frightened then.
And mad at me, I think. I kidded her about it.
I wouldn't joke about anything else that happens here tonight.
Now, don't tell me you're taking all this seriously.
Aren't you?
Well, I'd like to find out what hit me.
Lance. If I need help, may I count on you?
Sure, I guess so. Look, what's going on here anyway? I mean, what is with this party bit?
This is no party. He's planning something.
Your husband?
I wish I knew what it was.
Must be pretty big if he's going to lay out 50,000.
The money doesn't mean anything. He has a reason for getting us all up here to this dreadful old house.
Well, what for? He doesn't even know us.
Maybe that's exactly why you're here.
Well, what can he get away with?
Oh, he thinks that big money like his can get away with anything. You know, of course, that I'm his fourth wife. The first simply disappeared. The other two died. Lance, I don't want to join them.
You mean he,
Oh, his doctor said they died of heart attacks. 2 girls in their 20s.
Well, what can he do?
My husband is sometimes insane with jealousy. Nothing matters to him then. Please be careful.
Would he hurt you?
He would kill me if he could.
Annabelle, you're missing all the fun. Nora Manning was almost killed by a falling chandelier. The pilot bashed his head in.
Is he badly hurt?
The Saturnine psychiatrist bandaged him up. Don't you want to go and console him, as you do most men, in your fashion?
You're so clever, Frederick.
As I lie awake nights wondering why I married you. It was rather a mistake.
You didn't marry me, dear. I married you. Unpleasant, but no mistake.
Hurry up.
Frederick, for the last time, I'm not going to your party.
For the last time, it's not my party, but yours. And you are going.
I am not.
You ready, dear?
No.
Are you ready, dear?
Yes, damn you.
But you adore me as much as I will prove. No. All you want to be is a lovely widow. It's almost time to lock up the house. Then your party will really begin. I wonder how it'll end. It's close to midnight, Lance.
Okay. I'll be down in a minute.
Who is it?
Your host, my dear. It's almost midnight, Nora. We're all going to get together down in the living room.
All right, Mr. Loren. I'll be right down.
Come with us. Come with us before he kills you.
Where's Nora? Miss Manning.
Don't want to stay here.
Nora, what happened? That's Jonas Slides and his wife. They've been caretakers here for years. She's blind, you know.
I'm not going to stay here.
Well, Doctor, it looks like we have a real case of hysteria on our hands.
I think she's just a little upset, not hysterical.
Good evening.
Hello, my dear. This is my wife. These are our guests. Ruth Bridges, Dr. Trent. You know Watson Pritchard, of course. Nora Manning, and this is Lance Schroeder.
Get me out of here.
Now, what about the 10,000?
I don't care. He wants to kill me.
Who wants to kill you?
Mr. Loren.
May I have your attention, please? I think you all remember the bargain we made about staying all night. $10,000 apiece. If any of you don't survive, $50,000 will be divided amongst the rest of you. If I should die, you will be paid by my estate. When the door is locked from the outside by the caretakers, we'll all be forced to stay in this house until morning. If any of you decide not to stay, you must leave with the caretakers now. You won't have a chance to change your minds later, because there'll be no way to get out.
I don't want to stay.
Wait.
isn't midnight yet. Who told them they could leave?
They never leave before midnight.
Well, they've gone now. I was going to ask you whether you wanted to stay or not, but it seems that the caretakers have made the decision for you. We're all locked in now.
But I don't want to stay.
I'm sorry, my dear, but it's too late now.
Darling, haven't you had enough of the silly game? Get some cars up here for these people and let them go home. But pay them first.
This is your party, remember? In spite of my wife's faith in my ability to do the impossible, we will all have to stay in this house until 8 o'clock in the morning. But we have some party favors for you in these little coffins. This is my wife's idea. I must say, I think it's rather dangerous. I suppose you all know how to use one of these things, but in case you don't, you just press down on this lever with your thumb and then pull the trigger. You see, they're loaded.
These are no good against the dead, only the living.
Doctor? Lance? Nora?
Go ahead, take it.
Miss Bridges? And here's yours, dear.
I don't need it.
It was your idea. Who knows, you may want to use it on me before this night is over.
Throw these guns away. They won't do you any good.
I agree with Pritchard on that point, although not for the same reason.
Dr. Trent, don't you approve of our little party favors?
Suppose Nora had had a gun when she mistook the blind woman for a ghost.
I don't think anyone else is going to walk around in total darkness.
Oh, I'm sure we're not going to go running around the house shooting each other, aren't you?
Who knows? Fear makes people do amazing things.
Mr. Pritchard, you said your sister-in-law killed a man and a woman here and cut them up? You said they found hands and feet, but they never found any heads. Would you like to see one of those heads? Would you all like to see one of those heads? Well then, just follow me.
Darling, I really don't need this.
Just go look in my suitcase. Just go look. But it was in there. A woman's head.
Nora, I think you're a little upset. Would you care for a sedative?
Get out! Get out, all of you! All of you, get out of here and leave me alone! Just get out of here!
You think it's all right to leave her by herself, Doctor?
I wish she'd taken the sedative.
Well, what do you suppose she thought she saw?
They're closing in on her.
Look, Doc, I think somebody ought to stay with her.
There could be 1,000,000 people around her. But if they wanted her, they'd get her.
What if he's right?
He's too drunk to know what he's talking about.
I wonder. I'll join you in a minute.
Do you think it would do any good if you went in and talked to her?
Well, do you think there really was a head in her suitcase?
I don't know.
A thing like that would put me right over the edge.
But would you sort of stay up here, I mean, in case she needs help?
All right. I'll be in my room. Just call it.
Thanks.
Are you sure there are only 7 people in this house?
Positive, except for the ghosts.
I don't believe in ghosts, nor in frightening women. In Nora's case, it's gone far enough. Perhaps too far.
What do you suggest we do about it, Doctor?
Don't frighten her anymore.
Nora? 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 What do you know about this?
They've taken her. In a little while, she'll be one of them.
Where's Nora? Where is she?
It's too late. It's too late. You'll never find her again.
Pritchard, if you know where she is, you better tell me now.
She's gone. She's gone with them. There's nothing you can do about it.
Nora.
Let her down.
Nora?
She's dead, Mr. Loren. Your wife hanged herself.
Suicide.
Nora,
Hide me, please, hide me.
what's the matter?
He tried to kill me. He grabbed me and choked me and put me in that room. And then he went away and left me.
Who?
He thought I was dead.
Who?
Mr. Loren.
Are you sure about this?
I don't know. It was dark, but it must have been him.
Has anybody seen you since he left you?
I heard some people in that room, but I went by and nobody saw me.
Mrs. Loren is dead. Loren said she committed suicide, but I think somebody killed her.
Him.
I'm sure you've come to the same conclusion I have.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's all have a meeting, discuss what to do. The living room?
Okay, in a minute. I gotta go downstairs. Now, you lock yourself in here and don't let anybody know you're here. If he thinks you're dead, he won't come here. And I'll get back as soon as I can. You'll be all right. And if you have to, you use it. So beautiful. So greedy. So cold.
What are you doing in here?
Wait. Don't wait.
What do you mean coming in here?
I didn't want them to take her away.
Drunk.
They will if you don't watch her.
You're drunk. All right, out with it, Bridget. Why did you come into this room?
I'm the only one who understands.
Understands what?
Your wife isn't there anymore. She's already joined them.
Bridget, I've had enough of your spook talk. Get out, you sot, and don't come back into this room again.
Where's what's her name? Nora.
I didn't disturb her since I don't think this concerns her.
No, you're right.
Mr. Loren, isn't there some way we can get out of this house now?
No, none at all.
We could try breaking out.
The only door to the outside is made of steel. The bars of the windows are set in solid stone. We gotta stay.
I'm not afraid of your ghosts, Bridget. But I am afraid. When we came here a few hours ago, the only thing we had in common was the $10,000 we'd get. Now, however, we share something else. The death of Mrs. Loren. So far tonight, one of us was almost killed by a falling chandelier. One of us was mysteriously slugged. One of us has been driven to the brink of absolute hysteria. And one of us is dead. Were these accidents? Suicide? And we must stay here for 6 more hours.
6 hours? 6 of us. Time enough.
Who will be next? How will it happen?
Let me ask you a question, Doctor. You were the first one to see my wife there. Did you also see anything that she could have climbed up on and then jumped?
No.
Did any of you? There was nothing. How then did she get up there so high?
Exactly, Mr. Loren. How? She couldn't have pulled herself up there. She couldn't have dropped from the ceiling. Do you think your wife killed herself?
No. She was murdered by one of you.
Or you, Mr. Loren. To deliberately kill someone, you must have a reason.
We were all strangers to your wife. Only you had a motive for murder.
What husband hasn't at some time wanted to kill his wife? What husband hasn't had 1,000 opportunities to do it in such a way so that he'd never be suspected? I'm not such a fool as to hang my wife from a ceiling by a rope.
The fact remains that you, or one of us, murdered Mrs. Loren. And that's a matter for the police.
So how do we get the police?
That's my point. We can't until morning. What began as a silly party given by an eccentric has now involved us all in murder.
For once, Pritchard may be right. If another murder's in the works, let's stop it now.
Another murder.
Why not? Maybe one of us saw too much.
Why should even a millionaire want to give each of us $10,000 to spend one night in a gloomy old house? To see some ghosts, have a party? No.
Have you finished trying me, Doctor? And is the verdict guilty of murder?
Oh, this isn't getting us anywhere. Somebody killed Mrs. Loren. We know that. One of us is guilty and the rest of us are innocent. Okay. Now, what we have to do for the next 6 hours is protect ourselves from each other.
You really think?
I don't think anything. I just know that I'm going to my room. And if anybody comes in, I'll shoot him. Or her.
And if we all stay in our rooms, we'll be safe. Because the innocent will have no reason to leave his room. And the guilty will admit his guilt if he or she does.
And we all have guns.
And we're all agreed?
Oh, I wish this night were over.
Rooms? Guns? I tell you, it doesn't make any difference. They aren't through with us yet.
What's the use of saying goodnight?
Good night.
Good night, Doctor.
Nora, it's me, Lance. You okay? They've all gone to their rooms and locked themselves in.
Lance, I've been thinking. It was so dark down there. Maybe it wasn't Mr. Loren.
It was him, all right. He tried to kill you, and he did kill his wife.
How can you be so sure?
She tried to warn me, asked me to help her. The doc thinks he's going to try and kill one of us. Now, there must be a way out of this place, and I'm going to find it and get the police before he does.
I'm going with you.
But if he finds out you're alive... No, Nora. You're safer here than any place else. Now just lock yourself in and keep quiet. If I find a way out, I'll come back and get you.
An admission of guilt, Doctor?
Certainly not. There's either somebody else in this house or one of us has left his room. Did you hear anything?
Organ music?
That, and someone walking.
You got yours? Ready?
You look downstairs, and I'll look up here.
Why not together?
There may be only minutes, seconds left of someone's life. Why waste time? It's almost over, darling. Every detail was perfect.
What's happening?
We've done it. A perfect crime. Beautiful.
Has she killed him?
Not yet, but she will.
Get me out of this hanging harness. What's taking that girl so long? What time is it?
At first, I couldn't get Nora to want to protect herself with a gun. After you appeared at the window, everything began to work just as we had planned. You were wonderful. Just the touch that finally drove her into complete hysteria.
It'll be worth all of our planning, darling. Where's Nora now? What's happening?
On her way to the cellar. So scared she'll shoot the first thing that moves.
And Frederick?
On his way to the cellar, too.
David, are you sure none of them will suspect us?
Of what? An hysterical girl accidentally shoots somebody? Who would suspect that we planned it that way, that we drove her to it?
What about my suicide?
But just a ghost party gag. We'll claim it was a dummy since I'm the only one who touched you.
And the caretakers?
But they had no idea what they were really doing.
What about Nora? She's not stupid, you know.
Darling, believe me, everything we've planned is working perfectly. Nora is sure Frederick murdered you. She thinks Frederick attacked her in the cellar, not me. And now Nora's almost out of her mind with fear. The heads, the music, you're hanging. I tell you, when Frederick walks in there, she'll shoot him.
It's taking too long. David, you ought to be there.
When you hear the shot, come down to the cellar.
David? David?
At last you've got it all. Everything I have. Even my life. But you're not going to live to enjoy it. Come with me, murderess. Come with me. Good night, Annabelle. The crime you two planned was indeed perfect. Only the victim is alive and the murderers are not. It's a pity you didn't know when you started your game of murder that I was playing too.
There must be some way to get in here.
It's right along here somewhere.
Lance! I've shot Mr. Loren. He's down in the wine cellar.
Alive?
I don't think so. It's him. He's alive.
You didn't shoot anyone, my dear. I loaded your gun with blanks. I can tell you all now. Trent and my wife were planning to kill me. They failed. Trent tried to throw me in the vat. My wife stumbled and fell. I'm ready for justice to decide if I'm innocent or guilty.
Now there are 9. There'll be more, many more. They're coming for me now. And then they'll come for you.
And I hope you heard that. Was that 5-5 or do I need to start over again? Anyway, if you didn't hear it, Vincent Price, fantastic. I actually forgot how I knew how the ending was, but I couldn't remember how they got there. I still say all night poker game, smoke them if you got them. Everybody stays together. Everybody takes the 10 grand, goes on their merry way in the morning. And you should always wear jeans if you're going to spend all night in a haunted house and sneakers. But amazing. Glad we got to spend tonight to do it. Maybe it was meant to be. And if you are new, please subscribe. Doesn't cost a thing. Hit the like on the way out. We appreciate you so much. Tomorrow night, we're going, I don't know if we're going to finish it. There's so many details. So it's up to Steve. Might split it into 2, or maybe we can get it all knocked out tomorrow night. But man, I'll tell you what, if you're not familiar with Robert Crane, Hogan's Heroes fame, massive syndication right now. In 1978, he was found murdered, horribly so, in his bed. There was a lot of things going on behind the scenes. Talk about his life and his habits and this and that and everything else. The point is, the man was murdered. There's lots of theories out there. There's lots of evidence, changing evidence over the decades, and it's very much, it parallels with so many other true crime stories we've done here. Even the Lizzie Borden or Velisca. We're going to tell the facts, and facts that people are still sticking to from that were brought out decades ago. Well, some of that's changed since via new evidence and new testing and techniques and things like that. So we're going to see if we can go over that. It's very interesting. Steve and I have been talking about it. Looking forward to doing that tomorrow night. Thank you so much for all you kind people out there. Appreciate the conversation tonight and spending time here with me and Vincent and these wonderful screamers and skeletons and crazy white. Do you see what I mean, though, about the black and white and the way they did it? all the little tricks, whether they were on pulleys or whatever apparatus they came up with, even the corny thing at the end. I think it added to the boldness of Vincent Price, to where he's got all these strings and everything else, and he's, you know, he's behind the door, the curtain, whatever. And we're supposed to believe that he's working this like a giant, you know, marionette, actually. But it sells. It worked. And if you saw this in the theater in 1959 with your friends in high school, or, you know, I don't know what it would have cost at that time, probably 50 cents, $1. It was a big thing. And it had a lot of longevity. I mean, the darn thing's older than me, you know, not by much, but it's so funny to think about it back then. You know, the Alfred Hitchcocks and even the 1948, older than this, The Time of Their Lives. So if you want another good ghost story movie, you can see that one on Daily Motion for free. It's called The Time of Their Lives, Abbott and Costello. And I believe I still have that on my on a playlist on my channel here. It's right here on the channel, so you can go pull it there and look at it. I found one I wanted to tell you before I leave, because this is pretty good. It's supposed to be a good book series. I never heard the series. I just was looking for stuff to watch late one night and found a ghost story called movie free on YouTube. The Dark Hallway. And it's got a different concept, kind of Harry Potterish like, but not with all the, not so epic, you know, it's very well done, I think, for what it is. And it was different. And if you like ghost stories, you like to try to unravel things, that's really all I want to tell you about it. Get into it. At least get up to the part where they get to the school and start seeing if you can catch what's going on there, because it was really different. I think it's a really decent ghost story, you know, and it's got a lot of plausibility to it. I mean, it could happen, you know, when people with abilities, you know, like anybody else, can fall into greed, or, you know, start using them wrong, and that power and all that stuff gets going. Very much like the movie we just watched. And there was a lot of power and name dropping, and people thought they were, you know, top in their field or whatever. All that power and greed takes over, and, you know, things start going awry. So thanks again. Let's remember to be kind to animals out there and kind to each other. Be good humans. And I'll see you tomorrow night. Let's have a little music on the way out. What do y'all want to hear? How about, I wonder if I can do this. We can just get that last bit on there, so we can have a little skeleton fairy. Sound good? All right, here we go. I love y'all. And be good humans. Good night, everybody. Hit the like, guys. Thank you. Thank you to all my wonderful mods. And thank you for everybody that bought a t-shirt or a sticker or dropped the super chat or dropped my PayPal. I thank you all, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Hope to see you tomorrow night. Have a good one, and thank you.